All right, fellas, this is the first morning of official practice here at Lake Oneida. Welcome back to the channel. It's freaking early. It's 6:02. I've been up since about 5:30. John, the Terminator Sukup, got up at 4 a.m. and left in the dark, ready to go. The guy is motivated beyond belief. No wonder he's always making top fives. Anyway, I'm idling out here this morning. We've worked on it a couple of days already, obviously. I've got about a day and 3 hours in of practice, and I don't know, it hasn't been much, but I'm gonna carry y'all along just like I told you, share with y'all everything that I'm thinking through this whole process of Lake Oneida. And like I said in the beginning, in the first video that I did, if you hadn't seen that, go back and watch it. I'm gonna give you everything. Like the last video, I gave you all of my research, train of thoughts that I had coming up here, where I am today with it, and then this one's going to be my train of thought and what all I do through practice and kind of how I practice, and then see how that turns out in the tournament here. So guys, if it's your first time here, don't forget, bump that like, please hit that subscribe, really think about it if you haven't done it before. Let's get to it. Practice day one. Little guy, probably the littlest one I've caught since I've been here. Jigger fish, shallow. The fish was in like 4 foot of water, literally 4 foot. Maybe something, I hadn't caught one that shallow. That's the smallest fish I've seen, but that sucker was shallow. So maybe I'll fish around up here. There's a bunch of grass, stuff that's flat, and shallow bite. Sure. Most of the bites that I've gotten up to this point have been like 10 to 15. That's definitely the shallowest bite that I've seen. Definitely smaller fish, but might be a starting spot. It's just really shallow, man. They're coming out of like 5-6 foot. Looking for in the grass. Oh, I'm idling. I'm going to show you. See if we can pick some of these up. Rock pile, big rock pile. That's exactly what I'm looking for, though. That depression in the rock right there. You see that? That's all I'm looking for. Just looking for those. That's all I'm looking for. It's a rock. It's 14 foot of water, grass with rock around it. And I'm just idling for hours. It seems like most of them I can get a bite on, so never caught any big fish, but you know, it's bites. Like I said earlier in this video, I've never been here where at some point during the tournament I wasn't concerned with just trying to catch five. This place just does it to me every single time. I don't know why. Dude, the weather, you saw some of it over the front of the boat, constant. I did a lot of idling today. I'd say I probably idled 3/4 of the day today, and I fished very little. I had maybe 8 or 9 bites. I feel like that if I stayed in that area, I'm going to catch a limit. I'm concerned about the size. I only saw a couple fish that I felt like were over 3 pounds, and but I didn't spend all day doing it, and I think there's a lot of fish there, so I got a decision to make. I had quite a few bites yesterday too, but they were smaller fish as well. Everything's close though. I haven't gotten anything far away, so I'm no more than 5 or 6 miles. All right, this is the end of practice. It doesn't matter how hard I try to get cameras to work, what I try to film. something always happens. Today, a camera that I've had for 3 years decided that it was no longer going to work at some point today. And you know, I'm a tournament fisherman first. No matter how hard I try to do this YouTube and make it right, guys, I'm trying my best. But like I say, I'm not a YouTuber where you know, cameras and all that come first. I mean, I've got a job to do, and it's to try to catch fish and qualify for the Elite Series. And so the camera thing, while it's very important to me, it's still somewhat of an afterthought. Today was hopefully some of it's on video. I had a couple of bites. I told you that I was going to go out there and look at some places where I thought some better fish were. They're better. They are. The problem is you don't get as many bites. The holes in the grass, man, there's some fish in there, and like, I'd like to just go there and stay put, because you know, we are ultimately fishing for points to make the Elite Series. And like I said, I'm sitting in 8th place right now, but I need some top 10s, and I don't know if it's out there. I don't think that, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good was my practice? You know, I would say it was a 6. You know, it wasn't off the chain. I didn't get enough bites to think that I can really do well, but you never know. That's fishing. And so tomorrow, gonna have some mainstay lures tied on and try some stuff, but there's also a lot of maybes that I haven't done yet. I hadn't thrown a jerk bait a lot. I hadn't thrown a swim bait. There's a few things there that I want to kind of use as a change up whenever I get to some of this area that I'm going to fish tomorrow, depending on where it's at. The good thing is that I've got about 3 different areas that are firing. One shallow, and shallow being 4 foot to about 7 foot, and then I've got another spot that's pretty deep, that's in that 13 to 17 foot range. Those are the better fish. And then the stuff that I found with the holes in the grass was all like 12 to 14. So the good thing about it is that none of them are very far away from each other. This thing is always like, every time I come here, everybody always feels real confident, like they're going to do really well in tournament. I know in my house, I think that everybody feels like they're going to do well. I don't know what it is about Oneida that makes guys feel that way, but it just seems that it just happens every single time. Usually I largemouth fish, and I didn't do that this week, and I'm not going to. So no matter what happens, even if I weigh in 2 bass tomorrow, I'm not coming to the bank. And usually I do largemouth fish here, but I've seen enough offshore that I want to try to catch a smallmouth, and I feel like I can. So the mainstay that I feel like that I'm going to do is this jig. This is a Kitech finesse jig, but it is a 1/2 ounce. It's got a little rage crawl on it. Throwing it in green pumpkin blue, something like that. I like that bait, and I'm going to explain to you why. The other bait that I'm going to use a whole lot is just a drop shot. Real simple, 3/8 ounce weight, drop shot. What I was going to tell you about what I like about them is the main thing is the weight, the size. They're heavy. And the one thing that I've really figured out this week, no matter where my places are in my areas, I can't see them with the graph. I know some of you guys commented about, like, you know, show us what you're looking for on the graph. With the rock piles that I was finding yesterday, yes, I can see those. But some of these rough spots that are real hard to see, they're hard to detect, and some of them have got a little bit of grass on them, and the grass grows up in between the cracks of the rocks, and you can't really see them. So, like, it makes it tough. What's allowed me to find some of those is just being able to feel those spots, just being able to feel them. I can't see them with the graph. I literally have to fish and just kind of cast around on some of these shoals and actually just feel that sticky spot. That's what I really like about the jig, because it puts me in my comfort zone. Because I throw the jig so much, it's just like throwing an LBJ, even though I've got it on a spinning rod. It's the same thing that I'm looking for. It's the same thing you're looking for on Kentucky Lake. It's the same thing you're looking for in California. It's the same thing. You're feeling for something that's a little bit sticky, but then it's clean. So, like, it sticks and then it falls free. It sticks and it falls free. And basically the best way I can describe it is like you're always weighing what your jig weighs with your rod, right? So does it weigh heavier? Like, is that a little bit of grass that's heavy but yet it pulls? You know, I just pop the rod real quick, break that grass clean, and hopefully it goes back down into a rock. And then if you pop it over a rock, you'll feel it just a little bit sticky. You're weighing it, it's a little heavier, and then it pops loose. And then you can almost feel, because these are tungsten head jigs, you can feel the rock when it falls back down, and it goes thunk, and that's a really good feeling. And anytime I'm around, that's where I get bit. The gobies are always there. You get bit by the gobies. you know you're in the right spot. Your bait is. If you get bit by those little red-eye, goggle-eyed bass, rock bass, whatever they call them, those in the perch, you know you're in the right spot. The pickerel and some of that other stuff, they're all around up and behind that grass, and you can't tell much from them, but those little rough spots seem to be what I'm going to target this week. And I think the reason that's happening is this lake's changed a lot through the years, and like I said in the beginning video, if you guys hadn't seen it, you can go back and watch it. My thought process coming into this is the yellow perch and some of the alewives and stuff that these fish used to feed on heavily. I think the gobies have taken over this lake, and I feel like that just like last year when we were here, tournaments are going to be dominated with goby type baits, right? Something that mimics the goby. A jig will actually do both. You know, it'll mimic a goby, it'll mimic a perch, and it'll mimic a crawfish. So I'm getting all three out of that bait at once. Same thing with the drop shot. If you're wondering what worm it is, it's just a flat worm, same one everybody's been throwing for a long time. It's just a goby imitation. That's all it is. It looks like a goby, and that's what these fish want. So I'm going to sit down, I'm going to string up a few rods and give you guys maybe a tour of the house again. Where we're staying is a pretty beautiful place, and walk through here and see what we got going on. All right. Boat stays in here all week and makes a big difference. Anytime we can do this, man, I love doing this up north. But let me take you to our house, show you through what's going on here. Got another dock here. Panger's been parking his boat up. Shaw's parking here. Some more parking. This house is not really a house, it's kind of a cabin. You're gonna see it's not very big. But it's gorgeous around here, man. It is. We're in the shade. We're cooking walleye every night because we catch a lot of walleye while we're bass fishing. Looks like Upshaw's back. This is the front of our cabin. Here is the indoor side of the cabin. There's what Grayson's been doing all week right there. Say hi, Gray.
Hey, YouTube.
And this is the house. This right here is the whole house. Look. There's the lake out that way. The kitchen. The lake out that way. And then Andrew and they've been living up there. Andrew and Matt. John's bed, mine and Grayson's bed, dining room table, and the kitchen. So you pretty much get the gist of it. We're all pretty tired, man. It's been a long week. But I think everybody's had a pretty decent practice. I know Andrew's got like 3 boxes mailed here from Tackle Warehouse, so he must be on to something. And hopefully we all catch fish this week. Guys, like I said, I've thrown some stuff out there. I wish I could have got a little bit more on the water. Cameras cut me short yesterday and today because of the weather. But I'm laying out the best I can. I feel like I've got a good chance to catch, 14, 15 pounds tomorrow. Anything north of that, I'm going to be really excited. It's going to be hard for me to catch a bunch of those big fish. But I'm going to keep both those baits in my hand that I just showed you and stay in those sticky spots that we just talked about. And hopefully I get a couple of them without 5,000 boats on it because this lake is small and it takes a lot of pressure, and that's part of what you got to think about whenever you're fishing one of these 200 boat opens. They're especially on a lake size of Oneida, it's not that big. Guys, don't forget, bump that like, hit that subscribe. Really appreciate y'all being here with me this week. Derby Day starts tomorrow. It'll be the next video that drops after this one. And hopefully the cameras work all day long. All right, we out.
Thank you.